Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AllJazz Podcast. We started with opening a beer. We have a very, very special guest, dear and close to my heart, one of the best working magicians in the Netherlands. My personal opinion is with us here, Fritz Alkemade.
Yay! Woo! Woo! Oh, just me. I will run around. So it sounds like a crowd. Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, Fritz.
Thank you for having me, AllJazz.
Thanks for coming, my friend. Since I've actually started 2 years ago of thinking about this, I know I told you to start, that I will start, and I was very ambitious. Life happens, and we are here 2 years later. You are on the first official recording.
Fantastic. There's a saying in Dutch, beter laat dan nooit. So
yes,
we're here.
Exactly. For those who didn't understand, better never than ever. No, better someday than never.
Better ever.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, we got you a really nice drink. I never heard of this drink before. I like beers, but...
Nazdravje.
I have here mango juice for me.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite beers. This is not the beer you usually start with, but...
it's a strong one?
It's a very strong one. I'll show this camera a triple Carmelite. It's, I think, 9%, depending on where the beer comes from the casket.
Yeah.
The lower it is, the beer comes from, the more alcohol it is.
Almost the same color, like. Okay.
Oh, yeah, almost. It's kitty juice. So.
Kitty juice, yes. Cheers.
But this is not something you would usually start, but this is a special occasion. So.
Yes. And the glass is right for that?
Yeah, it needs to be a wide glass. So
and with a narrower than mouth.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Nice. Woo. So you've been running around today and around the Netherlands a bit?
Yeah, sort of a holiday, I guess.
Holiday?
Yeah.
Alone?
No, with my son.
Oh, and, so you just came now with the son and Father Day?
Yeah.
The family day, or?
Yeah, so I drove with him on Wednesday, I guess, to my mother in the south of Holland. And then I stayed there for one night, and then we went to Antwerp, the three of us, to do some mother, daughter, son, family thing, bonding.
Yeah.
So we stayed in Antwerp for one day, and then
were you close to the floods now that happened?
We're in Antwerp, or
yeah, there with the parents.
Yeah, sort of. The place where they live is they live high.
Our thoughts go out to everybody who lost family members in Germany, Belgium, France, Switzerland.
It's not good for your playing cards.
No.
It's terrible, but
terrible for the cards, yeah.
Yeah, and in Antwerp, I met up with Kobe, other magician.
Oh, and at least they got rid of all their magic in the drawers. They got
yes, that's gone. But yeah, I hang out with Kobe for Kobe Bryant, Kobe for a bit. We talked, had a beer in Antwerp, and then we drove to Middelburg for 2 days. So nice. I was there. Meeting up with a few friends.
But the weather was okay where you could like have nice summer.
In Antwerp it was raining, but in Middelburg it was the sun was there, so to the beach and things like that. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So just we've cleared this up before, but because it's a first kind of edition of the AllJazz Podcast, first episode.
Yes.
I wanted to clear it for the audience as well. It's gonna come apparent whenever a magician is over. We're gonna have other guests as well, but I'm interested a lot in magic, so we're going to have a lot of people. Hopefully you're going to be back if you like today's conversation.
Sure.
But we're going to do like an open, let's say, more public magic insights, let's say, into your life as a magician or how you became. Those cliches kind of questions, which I am actually interested in, because although we're friends for a long time, we have never really sat down like this and dived a little bit deeper.
Yes.
So we're going to go down that path a little bit. And once we are kind of happy that we are kind of out of our restrictions now, we kind of feel that we need to share more. We're going to end the podcast, official one. And then we're going to...
And we start a therapy session.
Yes, exactly. The Patreon therapy session. No, because this is what I'm trying to do. We're going to try to... Hopefully you're for it. And we're going to just have a little Patreon episode as well.
Try me.
Let's go. Awesome. So, first question, like a cliche question. Why magic and when magic for you?
Oh, why magic? Oh, that's a good question. I think the reason why I like magic is the mystery aspect of it. And maybe when I was younger, I was able to do something that other kids could not. So I think that for aspect, but I think during the time I liked the mystery of it.
How old were you then?
When did I learn my first card trick? I think I was about 8, something like that. And I already knew that it was cool because all my other friends were doing sports and other things, hobbies, and yeah. So
And to backtrack just a little bit before magic came into life, are you born in the Netherlands?
I am not born in the Netherlands.
Because I heard jokes when I was like beginning in the Amsterdam show, like you're like 1/16 of Asian or black or whatever.
Whatever color you are, Fritz. No, actually, I'm half Filipino, half Dutch. So I was born in the Philippines to a Filipino mother and a Dutch father. And when I was about 5 months, we moved to the Netherlands.
That early, okay. So
yes.
And you ever go back?
Yes.
Nice. The family is still all there, or like
all there from my mother's side. We used to go every 4 years, and then we went when I went to move out of the house. I think I went every 2 years, and now when I feel like it, I want to go. Usually in around January, February, because it's
Philippines. I want to visit once.
It's warm there, and it's cold here, and I have not a lot of work in January, February.
Yeah, it's a perfect marriage then.
Yes,
nice. And then seeing family and.
Yeah, holiday.
So yeah, I guess by my calculations, you started magic then in the Netherlands.
Yes.
8 years later, almost.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And was it like because you saw somebody or somebody showed you something?
There was one trick that somebody showed me. Was the trick with the plunger principle. So funnily enough, there was in Vegas there was a Magic Live convention where. I don't know who organized it, but it was all about the first trick. So all of us went in there and we shared our first trick, and I shared my plunger trick, which I used to do back then when I was a bit younger. But that
was your go-to, or
not really my go-to. It's just
the sentimental, the first one.
Yeah, it was the first one, and yeah. So that's the one. Hans Kazan I also saw on TV. We saw a show in Hilversum. I remember that clearly, and there were 2 books in the library in my school, which I...
Which year was then? We're not going to pry how older you are, but what year did you then... You're talking about libraries. Young people don't know what...
No, but they have a library in school.
Ah, okay.
So they had just... Well, anything with 10 plus books you could call a library.
Yeah.
But they had 2 magic books there from John Tremaine. One was about card tricks, and the other one was about general magic. I still have those books.
Nice.
So those are good beginner books. It's just the card tricks had more my interest.
Yeah. I mean, like when I moved to the Netherlands in 2011, I was just fascinated. I studied before I came here because I knew I was going to come. Because before I didn't know how rich the history here is in the Netherlands. You know, like before I actually studied magic.
Right.
And did you encounter that quickly, being in the Netherlands? How the history is so.
No, so the Milliborough, that's where I learned my few magic tricks. Then I moved to a different place, different high school, and I used magic there as well. I think I stopped for a while because I was in high school. Then other things are more important.
Yeah.
And then when I was
girls,
yes, that and other things that are not good for you, but
girls can be good or not good. Okay, let's not go down there, but yeah.
Yes, you are right. Yeah. But in the other high school I went, I remember seeing David Blaine on TV.
Okay, yeah.
So, and that was all cards. I think he came to the Netherlands
to promote. Or was it before?
I think it was even before. Could be 1999, something like that.
Because in Slovenia, only in 2002 it came the TV special. That's my same reason why I kind of.
But David Blaine was in Amsterdam, and he was on TMF. He was promoting his special, and it was pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, and then I got it all started with card tricks, and then in my last year in high school, somebody said, "Hey, you could make money with this," and then he made some flyers up for me.
Nice.
And then I got my first call to do a show.
You know how many people said to me, like, "Hey, you actually should do this for a living," and nobody did shit for me?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Well, he did not say make a living, but he said you could make money with this.
But made flyers for you, or what? Like a couple of them were.
I was in a bad place back then. I broke up with my. We broke up, and he wanted to make me feel better. So we decided to do that. But he was also a good friend.
Nice. That sounds like a good friendly.
Very good friend
would do. Yeah, nice.
So if he didn't do that, it's very likely that I would not be here with you. So.
Wow, those are like sometimes you wonder, right? These little things, a little crossover or just a little crossing goes left and right, and completely you never know what will happen.
I think in a different universe, I would be a lawyer.
A lawyer.
Because of what he did. If he didn't help me with that, I might have been an actual lawyer.
You were already down that path at that time, or interested in
I did 1 year of law school.
Oh.
My first year when I went to university. So.
Thank you, whoever that person is.
Yes.
Because
Shimei
you would have been a
is
terrible lawyer. No, you're probably a good one, but you know what they say about lawyers.
Yes.
No. This old joke. I mean, there's a lot of good ones, you know, but just like, I cannot imagine you being a lawyer. Such a nice person.
Well, I will be a professional liar.
Oh, man. No. Well, then you're... It's not that different.
It's not that different. No. Like I said, in a different universe, yeah.
Yeah, but this is... Okay. I'm not going to try to go all over the place because, like, the reason why you're so interesting to me, like, inherently, I think so. Because even though I didn't know before... how many different things you've done in your life, but when we met or talked, we can talk about that story as well.
It's a
good story. But, you know, I can kind of I'm not very esoteric in life, but this has to be something that you feel something, like even like based on what you said and how we connected and the way you just came to my place and we felt connected through something else. But let's go into that story because it's like I always love listening Fritz telling that story. And let's do it final time, so that you don't need to do it anymore when we meet magicians at any conventions or. I'll
just refer them to the podcast if you want to know about my life.
No, but just our meeting.
Sure.
Our meeting. Yeah.
Sure. So, I sent Joshua J a trick, which was a variation of a trick I published in.
And at that time, Joshua was running.
Yeah, he was the trick editor he had a column called Talk About Tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Josh, and it's nice that we became friends over the years. But I really admire his work ethic, the fact that he was young and he was working hard, and he had this column as well. And he mentioned that it was hard for him to get tricks, and I decided, you know what, I want to get published at some point. So I decided I'll send him 2 tricks.
Yeah.
So he needed like 2 tricks. One is Triumph for the time presentation.
Yes, just in time.
Yeah, with inspiration from Richard Sanders and David Acker. So I sent him that. And I sent him that, I think, at the end of 2010 or the beginning of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then came out in August 2011.
Yes.
And there was a trick from a Slovenian guy in there as well.
Yeah.
And by now, if you can connect the dots, that is actually AllJazz.
It was moi.
So, but it was nothing about him about that he was from The Hague or anything.
No,
it was just that he was from Slovenia. It was his
at that time I was not yet from The Hague.
Oh, really?
Actually, in August that month that it was published, we moved on the 11th of August. We physically came to the
Netherlands. Oh, I thought you were already here. Oh,
we made plans, but not came yet. Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. So in August, so it came out. And then AllJazz apparently saw also my trick and he read that I was from the Netherlands. So he just emailed me and said, "Hey, we're in the same issue. I moved to The Hague. Do you want to meet up?"
I think a couple of weeks ago I just went completely down our.
Oh, really?
And I just looked at that first message we had on Facebook.
Yeah, no, but that's cool. I'm always really. I try to be accessible as much as I can because I think that's important in magic that. If people have questions, I actually really do mean if you want to know something, I'm really accessible.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody, he really is because it's not a lot of people.
I mean, I do filter out what what you want from me. I mean, if you ask for secrets or whatever, then you know,
if you're personal, like if it's a personal approach, like I want to meet you, like
sure, if they want to meet me, or if they want to hang out, or if they have questions about, hey, is there anything to do in the Netherlands magic wise, or what would you recommend? I have that many times when I was still living in Amsterdam. I had people, new magicians that are in town, message me and say, hey, you don't know me, but I'm a magician, and do you want to meet up? And of course, I'm always up for that. It's good for magic if we have some sort of community. So.
Yeah, because I was just trying to relate the other day from there was a stand-up comedian like Tom Segura. I don't know if you know him.
No.
But he has a podcast I like to listen to. Your Mom's House Podcast. Here's a plug that they don't need. But he mentioned something along those lines of, just not... understanding like at which point in life you meet somebody, and then for me, like it's just a story, like whenever you tell it I get mesmerized and I get lost in my thoughts, because it's always been so like like I contacted Michael Vincent in the same way. To me it was a bit different because I was so like mesmerized by him as well, and learning from his books and DVDs that he had out, and just the classic and elegant magic that time was really to me. But I felt like, why am I contacting this personality? He's gonna think like, who's this weird guy? Like, what does he want? No,
that's true. But
it's already, I mean, it's still a magic circle. But when you go out, like this guy Tom Segura was saying, like being so jaded that people don't understand that if somebody is like a really professional performer, goes around, he's booked for I don't know, and then people contact him saying, hey, you want to sleep, in my place? I can, dude, you don't think it's like a booking of a hotel is in my, arrangement of my stand-up or whatever? In a sense of like, there's certain people might, even though that person could have approached him and really wanted to get to know him. It's just for more famous people, or who are have more people who know them, might be more weirded out than us, who might be great. Oh, there's a magician. At least to me, when I met Danny, I was completely out of my, like, this guy knows me? Who the hell knows my name? Like,
I think in that regard, the magic community is a bit, it's a very special group. I remember reading a story of Eric Mead, could be in his book, but I'm not sure, that he retold a story of him stranded with a car, and he picked up the phone book and he looked up a magician, and he called this magician. He said, hey, you don't know me, but I'm a magician as well. Could you please help me out? And he did. And I think that's great of our community that is possible. And that's...
There's so many bad aspects as well, like based on personalities, depending on who you meet. Like there's also people who are narcissistic, and because of the nature of and they're attracted to that part of knowing and being special, or just being all about themselves as well. But it's so much more like also those kind of experiences that you said, that it's just so open.
Yes.
Because it's so, we understand, we're just brothers immediately.
Yeah, and if you go to the core, we are all human after all. Yeah. That's a song, actually, I think. Human after all. But that's... I used to get starstruck when I met my magic heroes, but now I just treat them as normal people, and that's actually what they want. They want to be treated. So if I reach out to a sort of quote-unquote famous magician, I say, hey, what's up, whatever it is. But I just act normal, and if you just do normal, they love to
Don't be overzealous, like
no.
something like around Tom Stone sometimes.
Yeah, you want to hear a story about AllJazz and Tom Stone? Oh my god!
We can say it. I'm embarrassed about it, but
we have
I've learned
photos. If he had no pants on, it was a no. But this is the first time I saw AllJazz really
starstruck.
Yes, with this, which is
kind of like, it was cute. Yeah,
it was.
But it was creepy a bit.
It was a bit creepy. I think me and Martin told you to slow down a bit.
Yes, but I also drank that day, which I don't usually do.
Still no excuse. You need to keep it in your pants, man.
Tom, again, I apologize. This camera, that camera, I don't know which way.
Tom Stone is what we're talking about, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the fact, that
also,
time,
but it was a good night because we did a good show there.
Yeah, and we were at the lecture the night before.
Yeah, it is a cumulative...
Yes, it's just kind of
events, and then I can imagine,
It was, but it was really, you brought me down at that moment. You were a good friend, saying, at least I thought in that moment, that you were able to, not be, too rude. Like these, like with Dutch people, sometimes I felt because they're so honest that, Slovenians don't have that culture. So it's
Martin also said it as well. You had to.
Yeah, exactly.
Martin said as well. Just keep it a bit.
Just yeah. So yeah, it was a life lesson for me for sure. And the next time
we thought it was all funny. That's why me and Martin were laughing. Martin Hansson, by the way, who won third place in the parlor.
Congratulations.
At your in Manrezovism. So there you go, Martin.
He should come here in September. We're making plans as well.
I think that's a great idea. Yes. He has a lot of stories to tell. So
yeah. And
stay tuned.
Yes, and also now let's go a little bit into we had a little bit of your story. Next time when you come over, we're gonna dig a little bit into it a bit more.
Okay.
Maybe even music-wise.
Sure.
Maybe today, but I don't know. But let's go a little bit into, let's say, our common passion is in magic, at least I think, is first of all sleight of hand. The whole, also just in general, we like to have quality magic from ourselves and from other peers, but also very academic.
Yes,
I would say you way more than me. I didn't pass academia when I was studying social studies, and I also kind of resent that. I don't, that kind of way of thinking. I still kind of am struggling with it, but. But I'm still feeling out of an institution, I'm very passionate about crediting, about advancing, about respect, and also at the same time, I wanted to get this conversation with you about trying to spread magic a little bit more into the populace, in a sense of not the whole magic scene, but just a little bit of knowledge of what magic really is to the popular public. That it's not about secrets, that it's not about, although it's a big part of our tool set. And I know that you agree. And I don't want to talk for you, but let's dive into it. How would you, let's say, I'm very passionate, I'm going down my way, but sometimes I will need help. I will definitely call you.
Sure.
And we've been talking about it as well, but how are you split here? Do you think more public should know? Or in which way they should know, or we should just keep how we're doing, keeping it like a secret more, and just because that's the nature of it.
Well, for me, the secret is not important. It's sometimes I teach lay people a trick when I do close-up magic. It's just a very basic trick, just to show them how it's done, and then I let them do it for me. So they perform it for me, and then that's the moment when they realize, oh, this is much, because they're so focused on the technique that they forget everything else.
Yeah,
they forget to ask me to take a card. So I'm like, no, you have to ask me to take a card, because that's also part of the trick.
Or say hi, look at the person in the
eyes.
in
the eye or whatever. These things, and even if it's a basic trick, they realize on the spot, like, oh, this is a bit harder than normal. And then I tell them, well, if you think this is hard, can you imagine all the other things that I'm doing for you right now? Yeah. So I think you need to educate them.
There's places for that, right? Like you don't.
Yeah, of course. I don't. It's also nice.
Because I do that as well. Like what you said, little tricks here and there to maybe even get students or mentor somebody who's interested. Or
but sometimes you get booked to do workshops for magic workshops for companies, and then in the first 10 minutes, first I do a short performance. Obviously, those are tricks that I will not explain, but just to get them a feel, get them excited, and then I briefly talk about that it's not about the secret, it's how you perform it, you put your personality in it, and it's more than just the secret. It's more than just that. It's a layered. It's an onion. A magic trick is an onion.
There's so much going on.
There's so much going on.
But it is really there's so much power and of this attraction to the actual workings of something that you didn't understand before. Like the human brain wants the puzzles.
Yeah, exactly. It's in our nature to figure out things.
Exactly, and it's like just the fact that I'm now, for the first time, last few months, reading a book from 1911, Our Magic by Mescaline and Dao. I forget his Devant.
Yes.
Yeah. That he's talking in there already how magicians is like he claims, and I agree kind of like it is in general magicians who are still perpetuating that image in front of people that it is the trick. We're selling, like when you start going into magic, you realize it's a market that just keeps coming, new tricks out, and it's like our common friend Rico Wieland is very upset about, and I agree with him. That just originality is now the virtue, not quality. Like as long as it's original, it's kind of like this shift into, and it's needed, I think, as well. Like the market or pushing new boundaries as well.
Right. Well, there's a difference, obviously, with the magic market and actually performing magic. I think if you sell magic, sure, originality is sort of important. But when you can take an old trick and revamp it, and I don't know. Sometimes I agree with Rico, sometimes I disagree, and if I disagree, I'll let him know. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good subject to discuss, especially between magicians, to have in general, the whole world needs, a place that we can discuss ideas and criticize each other for that somebody has a crazy idea. That's crazy. What did you say, AllJazz? Like, can I call you out on it and explain why that's completely unreasonable or whatever?
As long as it's well argumented, and if you don't say to me, I don't like it, well, why don't you like it? Yeah, I don't know, I just don't like it.
Yeah, in a sense of not censoring each other, in the sense that you're going to hurt somebody's feeling by saying something. If it's not your intention, like, if
your feelings get hurt, don't get into magic, okay? Because your feelings will get hurt.
All the time.
People will say, I see what you did, or... I know this trick. It's not for you. If you will get your feelings hurt more than not.
Yeah. And in general, you just have to be accepting that you are one of the people who's trying to, in a specific case. I know that I was personally a lot sociable before I started magic. I started when I was 18, 17. Coincidentally, also seeing David Blaine and being a skeptic by nature, I'm like, that looks real, and I know it's not. It can be. I have to find out. But in that sense, always, trying to find a way where I can talk about magic with people who are interested in it, and trying to see where the most people that I show magic to or we show magic to, they don't want to know. Nobody wants to really they burst the bubble, and especially those who know it's not true, but they loved what they see. No, don't explain it to me.
And that's good. We need to spread that it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
And that is the mystery. If you can accept that, and a lot of people can. You always have people that want to figure things out, and I think. There's a shift, I also think, in generation. I think the younger generation is more of open to magic, and most of them don't want to know. And you need to also pioneer that it's okay to not know.
Yeah. I sometimes do that, in the middle of, especially when you get people who are out of themselves suddenly because of a magic trick, and you see they're kind of shooken. It's not a lot of times, but sometimes you would need to go, hey, it's okay. It's exactly, just a trick.
You need
it's just a trick.
Yeah, exactly. You need to reassure them. Like, look, no, we're just here to have fun.
Yeah. Because it becomes overwhelming for some people.
You can tell by the audience response, either response or no response, which is also response.
Yeah, exactly. I did that. One of my favorite, not because of how they feel, but because I know especially for that specific trick, my job was done. If I wanted that reaction but it's also certain people react differently, of course. But that reaction of just mouth opening and just not trying to form sentences, and you have to just give them time. And the first time that happened to me, I realized also, that's why you need to wait. Let them, get the effect and not just rush from one phase to another phase because you just want to get it over with.
A little bit.
Nice. So if you would have to, let's say because this is more not for beginners, but we talk here more in broad terms, and
sure.
I do want to include something in the podcast here where people who are interested in magic would learn something from you today here, in a sense, either with a trick, or you don't have to, if you're not prepared, but I know you have probably a lot of public domain open stuff that we can share, but that's something I want to put in here, the podcast, that you think you want to share with the audience. This is something that if you're interested in, we'll show you that what you talked before. Try doing this, thinking that, saying that, and if you can make it work, you'll have this beautiful thing you can try out with your friends and see if you want to do something like this, like magic, not because you can show them some self-working trick right now, and they can do it, they can show the difference, but it's not going to do what we talked about to them. most of the time.
That is a good one. I don't know if the trick.
You don't
I don't know if I can explain those tricks.
Well, then you have to wait, ladies and gentlemen, for the Patreon. We're gonna do that in the Patreon.
Sure.
No, even there we have to keep it. To,
I need to double check if it's okay to.
Of course. Now I just this is all jazz. We're coming in with stuff on the spot. We can reject stuff on the spot as well because we want to be fair and we don't want to.
I would like to. It's just I'm not sure if I can do that in a public forum like this.
Yes, one thing that I was thinking. I'm gonna just do it here, and we can. I'm gonna share something that I'm pretty sure we can share. It's inside. It's by Al Baker, and it's inside the Encyclopedia of Card Tricks. And I got it from the what's that? Not the Gutenberg project, but the Learned Pig project.
Right.
When I was researching with my students, and this one kind of caught me off guard because it's the first one in the book. And we can try it out in a sense of because we have our technical guy here. Mm-hmm. We can try it on, but this one specifically, it's kind of self-working, but it's so the effect. Like, let me just explain the effect, and we can go into we don't even have to do it. We can talk about it because it is an unusual effect. It's not a thing that. It is kind of like one ahead, one behind that we can talk about a little bit. That's a principle in magic, but let's not go down that deep. But the effect is this. You have two people, you approach one, let's say you approach a lady. Mm-hmm. You ask her to think of to just shuffle the cards first, and then she starts dealing, or actually before she starts dealing, think of a number. Don't tell it to anybody, small number, let's say between 1 and 20. Mm-hmm. They do that, and you ask her to just go face up, one by one, dealing cards into a pile, and just remember the card you're turning away, the magician turns away, and they have to remember the card at the secret number they thought of. But before they even think of the number, and when you start approach them and you just say, look at them, and you start writing a little piece of paper, and you just put it there, mm-hmm. and then you tell them to think of the number, do the cutting, and I mean, in the end, when they do that and they remember the card, they go past it, they even cut the deck. Then you do the same with the other person. Start writing, let's say the gentleman, the piece of paper. The same procedure, but the difference is that the lady tells him the secret number she thought of. And he has to remember at the same. So there's already some clues to you, probably as a magician, how this might go. Mm-hmm. But the effect to the audience is then just clearly a prediction. Think of a number, secret cut, you get that number from her secretly. Now you count it there, and you can cut it inside there, and the prediction matches to both people.
Cool.
But there's so much work behind there because I can explain a little bit that you have to basically have a key card that you think of. The first one, the key card would be that you remember would be the first that they deal mm-hmm. on top. So you remember that one, but you also have to know the bottom card as well. So that's for later.
So they have to go through the entire deck?
No. You just let's say I teach them just a simple. They spot the bottom card while they are getting the deck.
Sure.
They shuffle that to the top by a overhand shuffle, mm-hmm. and then a nice little peek either by turning over the deck or gesturing to somebody, checking and knowing the bottom card. That one is needed for later. And the first one is the key card you have there that you remember and she has a secret number, let's say 7. Mm-hmm. When she deals to that card, she's going to remember that 7. She deals a bit past it. And then she puts the rest of the deck on top and cuts everything. But because you have now 2 key cards mm-hmm. that you know, you look for the first one when you reach inside and you do the second prediction. And also, that's why it's so confusing. And I want to do, always teach the students this, and not always, but if I think they need some work of thinking, saying something, mm-hmm. that would be the trick that I would share a lot of times, because they have to first know to which 2 people they go. Let's say they choose a lady and a man, and when they're writing the first prediction, they have to say the lady, and they're looking at the man, will choose, and then at some point they have to switch also the paper. Right. So there's so much mental work and such an easy trick in an actual just procedure wise, and there's nothing to do. Mm. And so that one I would share, but I guess we did share it a little bit. But Al Baker, that's in the Encyclopedia of Card Tricks, and anybody who wants to study, go there. And the Learned Pig project, they did a lot of work, and also I think the Gutenberg project did a lot of amazing work for the actual putting together public domain books that are, you know, I know a lot of people don't read watching this and listening. We like to listen now and watch, but there's so much gold in when you just go a little bit deeper. And what did they say? I think, you know what, who said this the best to me? Cameron Francis, when people were shocked that Coin and Call was published way years before in magazine. Why is it now in 2015 with Penguin? And Cameron Francis came on and just said, "Well, I guess nowadays if you want to keep something in a secret, put it in print."
That's an old saying.
It's an old saying, and it's still just yeah. Nice. Well, I won't put you on the spot anymore, my friend.
If you told me, I would have prepared
something.
I
know, but that's why it's all jazz. I wanted to see direction, but that's not like it's hard. The audience has to know we have certain standards here that we don't want to share, especially if you have a friend or who's already still, working on this stuff, and you don't want to step over any boundaries.
I can teach one self-working trick, but that one is too good to actually teach.
Leave that alone.
There, the Daryl's Dream card is a good self-working trick. I would recommend that.
Oh, audience have to research.
Yeah, they have to. That's a really good self-working trick.
Mm-hmm. Lazy Man's card, Lazy Man's by Al Baker. Also, was it Animan? The lazy, when it's like a setup on the bottom of 10. And then they keep cutting, and you're just like, oh, keep cutting. That's why I'm,
I think that one is Al Baker.
Al Baker as well, yeah.
There's. I don't have a lot of self-working card tricks, but when I do, they are pretty strong.
Okay. As for let's say if somebody starts, because we both like card magic. Mm-hmm. If somebody starts in card magic, would you say go and try as much as you can on the handling? I mean, forget about the slides and stuff, but the handling of did you focus that on the beginning already? Because I know I didn't in the beginning, and it would have come.
What do you mean?
Let's say that when you handle cards, that you already, when you start, really focus on the grip and understanding that you don't know how to hold the cards properly to facilitate all the, let's say, other moves that you want to do later and learn.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Right.
I think you can always return to the basics. That's what I do. At some point, I return to the basics again.
Yeah.
Just work on that for a while.
Do you have any bad habits that you had to get rid of?
Bad habits with cards? No, not really. I think magicians in general with bad habits should not do this all the time. Riffing.
Mm-hmm. It's quite distracting.
It's distracting, and it shows nervousness.
Yeah.
But bad habits, I try to maybe I unlearn them already.
Because to me, the first thing that I was completely shocked, and that was already years after I was here, 2 years in the Netherlands, and David Stone had a lecture, and I'm a lefty by nature. Like a lot of stuff I do left, right with left hand, kick with the left ball, left hand. I don't kick with the left ball though, but
that's impressive.
But I was taught that holding cards in the left hand mechanic or dealer's grip is a right-handed person would do that. But that also, if you are right-handed, that you should never, of course, because of the audience is there, you should not spread them then this way because they don't see it. You should learn how to spread them from there.
Yeah.
Right? But I was completely why is that this from a lefty? Because you have to change grips here, and we are taught okay, don't economy of motion, don't just this is your grip for this hand, this is for the other one, and then I had to I was thinking, what should I now change my whole grip to the other hand so I facilitate them clearly seeing it, and I always then just this is not nice but to turn like this to the audience, so it's a weird little. Yeah, that's what I was doing to if I wanted them to see, but mostly I didn't want them to see even.
I only do that when there is a table. Then I do the big table spread. So
yes, then you do it. Then you do it this way.
Yeah. Because then I think it's important. But changing hands just to do that.
Yeah, it makes.
I don't think. It depends on the context of the trick, I guess. But I've never had.
Yeah, it just confused me how a left-handed deck, right?
You're still blocking the views most of the time. If with your left thumb,
they say you can call and see them sooner. You can see them sooner, or here I don't know if.
Well,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if a beginner starts, are these really important things for you? If you would teach a beginner just the actual, the way to handle objects or cards.
No, I think they need to learn maybe 10 slides and then just do it for people.
Yeah.
That's how you learn it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like specifically with my students, although I tell them, this finger here is in the front for a reason, right? And this one, if you want to spread and keep them under control and not be like this against your chest, this pinky will come in handy.
Yep.
And because if they do this, and instinctively a lot of students, young kids, 10 to 12-year-old, they just do here, and they will spread here, and then it becomes, even like when we try to spread it, it's not a nice way to keep cards under control.
Straight. Yeah.
So just those little things, I mean, that you can kind of like tell them in the beginning, just remind yourself, keep that finger there. It's for a reason that grip is like that, Although I always encourage students to then go out of what I'm teaching them and try to ruin it, and then first learn it and then try to see if you can break it and put it back together somehow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And okay, good. I mean, for me, I would definitely like to start talking more about magic, but I want to know a couple of more personal stuff. Not too personal, but some stuff that I don't know too much. Well, I know that you like music.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and you also went to study a bit, because I'd always mix it up. You studied a bit of law school.
Yes.
And then you went to something connected with art and performance or video or something in the back, technical part?
I did a bachelor in arts and social sciences. Cultuurwetenschappen in Dutch.
Cultuurwetenschap, okay.
Yeah, so I did it in Maastricht for 3 years.
Nice, finished that, and then
I did a master of media culture, and I specialized in new media, so anything connected to the internet. And I did an internship where I was a camera journalist, where I made student TV.
Nice.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then that would be for a period of studied. How many years you studied then?
In total, 5 years.
5 years.
So 1 year law, which I didn't enjoy, and then I cultuurwetenschappen 3 years and 1 year a master.
Nice. Yeah. So that you completely enjoyed the path you then chose.
Yes.
Nice.
It was the time where I was able to polish my magic skills.
And where does it come to? Like, okay, you were able to polish the magic skill, but the side of the studying, does it come in handy now in magic?
Yes. So we learned in the first year about peer review, so how to review other people's work. Obviously, critical thinking. It's what you learn at university is a mixture of economically, historically, what have you not, all sorts of backgrounds to a particular subject. So it could be magic, or it could be the ancient Greek or whatever. It's very interesting. It's very open, and as long as you can always argue for both sides, depending on how controversial you want to be. So.
Nice. And techniques. How much are we? Oh, 43. Nice. Because I wanted to just go a bit to go into your commercial side of. Because I know you love like teaching and performing, but releasing magic.
Yes.
How was that for you? Like me personally, from Slovenia. Then once I was published in Magic magazine, I've personally felt like, oh my God, I can die now. I've achieved my goal. Like this was my end goal for me, being published. Because I thought I don't think I have anything for the magic market, like so commercial or whatever. But I think this one might be, good as a legacy. Something if I get it published, I'm gonna be so happy, So that was my first goal, and I felt like I was a bit pushed by friends who liked magic as well, and street magic was very hip. And David Blaine, and you should put this out, and I was just like, this is good. I don't know why that mindset came to me, that I felt like I need to be feeling like I really accomplished something, that I contributed something, not that I just put something out there that anybody can just put something out there, And there's so much ideas that I know personally that are just crap, my own. I'm not talking about other people's, just all of them mostly. But it's through that bull crap I came to some nuggets and learned from that maybe how and why I came to there, right? So what about you? With the first time you published something or for yourself came up with something and you thought, wait, I have that combination or that thing or this is something I've never seen and this is now like the euphoric feeling. At least right now I'm just getting a little bit of goosebumps because it is it's so rare for me at least, but it's like when you get and it kind of fits together and you get and this light bulb comes and it's like, wait, this is crazy. This is working. This is looking like this, and I don't know. Can you describe that feeling for you, or?
Well, first thing that I ever released were a set of lecture notes in Dutch, and it was just for me. And then I decided to release yearly notes, and back in the day it was about the quantity, and now it's more about the quality. So now you get fewer tricks, but they're very in depth. And so for the magic community.
But the first time you created something, you knew it was yours, or you researched afterwards, you found okay, this like this or a variation of this has not been done what I've done, and how that made you feel, like personally, not just.
That's a good question. I don't remember. Just if everything just somehow fits together.
And it makes sense.
It makes sense. Sometimes it just clicks, and of course you're happy, but maybe that's just my mindset. Just move on.
Yeah. I mean, for me also, there's a couple of cases like that, but just like this, at least for Coin on Call, at least I know that the thing just came together, and I was like, wait, how did nobody ever take a picture of the coin of the gimmick and did that thing? So. That was for me, and also the one with the coin through glass, the move by the pop out and not being used through the glass ever, or I've never seen it. I was also like, ooh, I was like, hey, this is, and not for like that somebody will now know me coming up with that, but I was so excited to see people what they think about it. Will they use it? Will they make something else with it? And or better, do it way better than I've ever thought it could be done, or I don't know.
It's nice if people do your trick, but. If you put it out there, it's for people to use, and if people message you, hey, I like this a lot, which happens a lot. I had one trick in John Guastaferro's column when he took over from Andy Gladwin in Genie. Somebody messaged me, I like this trick a lot, and I made a variation of it. Can I share it with you? Of course. And
this is one of the best tricks.
No, it's not.
No, it's not, dude. Like
he's lying.
For
so
cannibal effect.
That trick, it's a very simple process.
It's fun.
It is fun. It's a very fun trick. It's
called Cardi Balls.
Yes,
when was that created?
That was created for my lecture tour back in 2014, I guess.
2014.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting this from you, and I just recently found it, and I performed it now at the recent
at the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Shortly, the trick, I don't know if I described it in the references, but I was in Germany at the convention, and I played with this trick, and I showed it to somebody, and that guy, Markus Sadina from Austria, he gave me a suggestion on the last card, because it didn't make any sense, and he made a very good point. So I started working on it, and I felt like, it needed a proper ending, because there was not really ending with the cannibal cards plot, because the ones that I know, for example, Darwin Ortiz, when he does the third phase, the deck touches the cards, which I feel doesn't make any sense. And
especially if it's already on the table.
If it's on the table, why would you pick up the cards? Just leave the cards there. Unless you finish the effect and want to move on.
I couldn't find the reference there.
No, that's okay. I remember clearly how that happened. So that was Marcus Sedina. Thanks for that. But yeah, it was inspired by a Sankey cannibal card routine. I just changed it a bit. Make it a bit smoother and faster. And then the ending. There was always a problem with the ending because you don't want to reproduce the cards. So I thought,
so this particular, like the Jinx switch, I never really used it until
it's so good. It's really good.
Right?
Yeah, it's so good.
And when I did it like live, I knew it's gonna fly by because of like the how it's built and But I did it to my students on camera, and I was just like kind of myself. Oh, I know that you saw but they're like, I did not see, on camera even.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very how do you say that? Discrepant.
It's very discrepant, but it's one of those things like.
It's really nice, and it's a good way to put in the jing switch, and if you don't really put much thought in, it just flies by, and especially with some time restraints. But that's actually a fun trick, and
that's what I'm saying, my friend.
Yeah, and it's a fun trick. I don't do it but I was also.
Can I make an official request?
Sure, you want more? You can make them yourself.
No. That's what I'm like, because I can make it myself. I was thinking I have at least 2 students who are on the level of. Could I share it privately with them? This.
Sure, of course.
I won't film it for them. We'll just like at the session.
Yeah, of course.
At the lesson, I would
they
show
them
how they can make this together.
Yeah.
And I know that the 244 and the Emslikant and we were doing.
That was inspired by Paul Harris's solid deck.
Yeah.
And
the half of it goes solid?
No, the whole deck goes
the whole
solid.
Thing. Okay.
So I've been doing OmniDeck for years now, and I like things to be solid. I think Joel Given has also a trick where he uses.
Beautiful. Like,
he does it with aces. I think laser aces.
In the Spectator when
it's great.
When they like just did you ever like how do you when you put them in their hands? Do you ever like ask them to maybe? Or they just hold it and open and just let them do.
I don't remember. I just remember put them in their hands and that's that. They can rub their belly if they want.
It's a nice presentation about how he was greedy and ate all of them.
Yeah. Of course, because that would make sense.
Yeah.
In that regard, I know variations of where it's really bloody, where people had intestine come out from the card, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that's great for a horror show, but. I wasn't set, and there wasn't a real ending to the cannibal cards because the ones that they reproduce them. They would cut open and in between.
Yeah.
Like, if you would eat something, it would be gone.
Yeah.
So I have considered of eating the cards myself as well.
Like okay. Like me, but not so disgusting.
Yeah, but I decided, no, it's not good for your insides if you would do that.
No, that's why I just only at Amsterdam Magic Show. I just. Like if you want,
it's a fun, cute trick, and
really good.
The fact, maybe it's also my attitude that I don't think highly of it, but once it's finished,
I know you let the baby go.
Yeah,
and
of course.
And it just popped up on my table, and now I'm developing it a bit, and now it's my baby.
It's great.
No, as for performing, it's really really nice, and that's why also as a walk around thingy. When you can just add it into it,
yes.
Put a different card on the bottom, and just call the thing and just go.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now we're coming near to the end of the first podcast.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. He's pretending like he's being because he knows there's another one coming, which is going to be even better, which is the Patreon episode. But before we go into the Patreon episode, I'm going to have you drink that till the end. No. Okay. No forcing, no peer pressure. But let's talk a little bit about your next project, which is coming out very soon, if AllJazz edits everything together.
Oh, right.
You're just thinking like,
which project do I have going on? Yeah, no, that's right.
I know, AllJazz brand is a little brand, not so important, so you wouldn't think it's actually a release, but it's coming out.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've released anything with anybody, so this is...
No, I'm honored, and I've been practicing a little bit while I'm editing, actually going through the routine as well. It's such a great routine. You want to put out the name now? And a little bit of...
Yeah, I can talk a bit. It's called Pasteboards Palaté, or
I love
Pasteboards Palette, as people know it. But the reason I call it Palaté is it was inspired by Paul Harris's close-up finale.
Yes.
So close-up final, the third book of the close-up fantasies.
He pronounces it finale.
Well, it's the E at the end has a little... thing, so that you would pronounce it. So I thought I would like that, but in the credits with the PDF that comes with the download, I make sure that's also. It's not that I mispronounce it; it's the way I pronounce it. Just
it's nicely written. Yeah,
nice to as a tribute to Paul Harris, because Paul Harris is I like his magic a lot, card magic a lot, especially from his earlier days, and the way he routined his card tricks. Mm-hmm. So if you have his Stars of Magic videos or DVDs, the fact that he's able to take his tricks and somehow make them all string together. That's basically this project as well. The first trick that's in there, King of My Castle, is I love the song first. But that's a trick inspired by a few people, and
it's basically like you describe it well in the credits where you say it's not asyncratic. How do you say it? Not synchron. Asynchronistic. Yeah, basically like a transposition between not one for one, but 4 for 1.
The quantities are indifferent. The quantities are different. So,
but it's a sandwich effect with that kicker of a transposition.
Yes. So
beautiful.
So Chris Mayhew and
that's only the first phase.
Chris Mayhew and Luke Dancy, which they gave me permission to put it in, which is great, and that was released on my notes and in my Let's Go Dutch, but my Double Dutch DVD.
Dutch, yeah.
And one of the things, when you like a trick so much, you show it to people, and then you get feedback from people. Oh wow, why don't you? This doesn't make sense. And then when somebody argues,
you mean from magicians?
From magicians, yeah.
When you jam,
And then I showed it to him, and he said, I don't like this. And then I asked him why. And he told me why. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I never thought of it. So in the download, the difference comes in there. And thanks to Bernardo Sedlacek from Brazil, which I met
with Bernardo once at Amsterdam. He's also amazing.
Yeah, Bernardo is very good magician, and very.
He has a project out as well, right? For himself, a long one. Like
could be. And the second trick is a
royalty in
the Bronx. Sometimes I like to play with letters and words because it's royalty in the box.
When you read it, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But when you pronounce it, makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
That's how I did it with Rico's sophisticated.
Yeah.
When it reads so well, because it just goes back.
So it's royalty in the box.
Yeah.
But I like the royalty in the Bronx kind of feel.
And that would be if people know Larry Jennings' work.
Larry Jennings, The Visitor. So basically,
the packet version, right?
It's a packet.
But I've never seen it. Like you say, there's a packet version. I've tried to find that version.
Yeah, Steve Reynolds. So the reason why that trick came about is, what if I did a packet version of the tricks? So the what if question you can apply to a lot of things. So that's happened with that trick. Is what if I just used the 4 cards plus the selection. And it's just a matter of playing. I like to use the card box a lot with my magic, if possible, because it can do so many things. You can add secret stuff to it. You can whatever. I think it's underused, the card box in card magic, and it uses one of my favorite slides, the spontaneous ad from Marlowe, and. And
your justification is beautiful in this routine. And I saw when I was editing a little bit both videos from the side of your performance and the studio one. Like you have to know, and because if I catch myself following what you're saying, it just flies by as well.
The spontaneous ad, like the jinx switch on camera, is can be very unforgiving.
Can be, like if you know what you're looking for.
If you know what you're looking for, but usually it flies by, and I know because I've been doing it for years.
And we mentioned it also in the product many times.
Yes, of course. I just want to emphasize it again.
Yes. Let me ask you before, because I'm going to try to do as best of a job I can so far. What I've learned about what the magic market wants or whatever. Although we don't really care at AllJazz Originals, I know you also.
That should be your tagline. AllJazz Originals. We don't really care.
I mean, in the sense of like that's, in the sense of like saying that, like I want people to see your project because I love it. Like I can rarely. Like I will never talk about my projects like I talk about your guys' project or Rico's, Danny's, yours, because it's your guys'. I can't say that if I believe it, but for me, I can't for my own projects. But that's why I'm saying like you. It's a great balance. That's why I'm appreciative that you are here with the project with me, that you're sharing this on AllJazz Originals. But as I'm editing now, I'm having again this issue of how to present it that people would be interested, right? Those who like magic, especially if they like quality magic, or in a sense of this routine has 3 to 4 minutes of action-packed time, right? You get tricks where you buy them and you get a 10-second worth of effect for somebody, or a minute or half a minute or whatever. And this, to me, I don't know, I mean, explaining to people what actually happens, this is what I was told in the background of people who are, let's say, in the business of commercially selling all the time new magic tricks. They want to see, what happens in the trick. Is it easy to do? Is it, this and that? There's certain stuff which are, applicable, of course, and understand why, but in a sense, I'm having issue how to make, the ads sound like it's worth your while, and you should be wanting to see this.
Yeah, but there are no rules in how you should promote it. So even though other companies say, it should be this way, exactly, it's not a rule. It's not how it's supposed to. It's not
a rule, but they seem to be working for them, and it's against my integrity of what I want to do, and then you get stuck in this loop because they have figured out some stuff in marketing wise, how to sell to people and why to simplify certain things and make it all about the oomph factor.
The magic market is different now, so. And
now let's say, okay, like for this, would you, because I think in, let's say, Rico's example, when Rico's trick came out, we told specifically this is a new version or variation of the famous McDonald's Aces. Gimmicks are not included, and we were like told, but you need to explain what happens in there, right? And to us it was like, well, I'm going to explain what happens in the McDonald's Aces trick, which is basically an ace assembly.
Right.
You can explain it, but it's to me like the way Rico approached it and which slides he decided to use and how he structured it. It looks so straightforward. One of the best versions I've seen for me personally. But then selling it to the people is like, because I think a lot of people would like it who like to perform McDonald's Aces. I used to do McDonald's Aces a lot, and I've never done it. I mean, for years I didn't do it until this version came along, and I had a reason to practice a certain slide, which is easier to do with a smaller packet. Yes, we know where we are. I will be editing and working hard on your trick and on this podcast. And yes, let's tell everybody to look out for it when it comes out. It will be, I won't give a deadline because I'm bad with deadlines, but it will be very soon. We won't trouble, like I said to myself, I won't do too much like work for myself because I've done a lot of work with the music, with the song, and when we start the Patreon episode right about now, we're gonna actually reveal the song.
Right, cool.
We're gonna reveal the song that's going to be in the trailer.
Cool.
Okay, so thank you everybody for paying attention. Now subscribe, like, push notification about what did they say? If it's going to be on YouTube, everybody else, please check us out on Patreon, support, and check out Fritz everywhere he's on. Get him for lectures, travels all around when
if it's possible.
Well, now he has a family. Well,
doesn't matter.
But still get around. Good. Thanks everybody, and see you next time.
Thanks. Bye bye.